this is your first time, I hope you'll stay. Espero que te quedes. Today we're having a look at GCSE Spanish speaking, and I'm going to do it in two sections. Firstly, I'm going to try to help you walk into that exam and do your very best. And secondly, I'm going to go over the structure of the exam so you know what you're facing. Okay, so we're going into our exam, and though this perhaps is not the most difficult section for us, we struggle with the listening, I know, but we do need to do the speaking because many of us do get quite worried about speaking in our target language. Okay, so let's begin. What's one of the main concerns we have? El acento. Okay, we think that the accent, which is number one, el acento, we think that the accent should be fantastic, and we worry that we're not sounding Spanish enough. We are not Spanish, no somos españoles. No te preocupes, no pasa nada. The examiner is not marking you based on how Spanish you sound. Obviously, you do not want to speak Spanish words with your English accent. You're not going to go into the exam and say, Me llamo Michelle y vivo en Nottingham y mi madre se llama Marilyn y mi padre se llama Albert. You're not going to do that because that's you literally not trying. Okay, I find that the best accents in class are those accents produced when kids are trying to imitate someone's Spanish. Kind of taking the mickey a little bit. But those are the best accents. So you're relaxed and you're thinking of someone and thinking of how that person sounds in Spanish. Do that. Play around with it a little bit. Play around with it a little bit. Okay? So don't stay in your accent. Try to pronounce things in a Spanish way. Don't forget your V's, vivo instead of vivo. That helps a little bit. Try to remember your double L's. A lot of us will say L instead of Y sound. So remember the rules of L's, double L's, V's, Z's, th. These sort of pronunciation tips that you've seen before. Okay, but in general, don't worry about not sounding Spanish enough. As long as you're understood and you're trying at least not to sound so English, that is fine, okay? So don't worry too much about your accent. You're not going to want to sound too British, but somewhere in the middle, okay? Somewhere in the middle. Try to imitate a Spanish person, but don't get stuck on the idea that you're not sounding Spanish because they're not expecting you to, okay? Next, fluidez. La fluidez, fluency. Now, I put here, la fluidez no significa rapidez, which means fluency doesn't mean speed. A lot of times we associate being fluent with talking really, really quickly. That is not the case. The best speakers in the world don't actually speak very quickly. They're in control of what they're saying, and that is your aim in the exam. Not to speak really quickly, because then you get in such a state that you forget what you're going to say next, and it's actually not such a good idea. Okay, so you might get out the few first sentences really quickly, but if you can't maintain that and you're using too much concentration on going fast, it's the indication that you do not need to be going that fast. Take control. You need to be in control. So slow down, think of your diction, pronounce well, and take your time. Okay? Right. So if you need to pause to think, do it. Okay? The only thing is, don't make your pauses too long so it becomes an uncomfortable pause. Okay? Because that shows that you don't know what to say, or you might be getting too nervous. So think a few milliseconds. Okay? You could, in that time, use these sentences, these words. A ver, let's see. Vamos a ver. The same thing, more or less. Es una pregunta difícil, pero intentaré contestarla. Okay, so this is a difficult question. Okay? Or pues, well, and then you go into your reply. Okay? And again, don't make the pauses too long, because the examiner might take that as a he or she does not know and is confused. Okay? Right. Number 4, Lagrammatica. What you need to make sure that you're doing here is employing a range of different structures. Not everything in the present tense. Mix it up. Show them that you do know how to use the present, the past, and the future. If you can stick present perfect in there as well, do that. The conditional, if you know that, absolutely, by all means. But try and get at least 3 tenses in. Okay? Right. There is no shame in this one. Use language you know. So all these structures or useful sentences that you've learnt in class, employ them, use them. You know they're grammatically correct, you know they're covering certain tenses, use them. That's why you learned them. These things that make you sound a little bit more Spanish because they're expressions, they're not easily translated. These kind of things, stick them in. Time phrases, time expressions. This is your time to shine, my lovelies. This is your time to shine. Okay? Right. No sé. Okay? No sé. If you don't know a word, or you get stuck on saying something, find another way of explaining. There's always a way around it. Imagine I'm talking about, I don't know, a raincoat, and I don't know the word for raincoat in Spanish. You might say, for instance, you don't know the word for raincoat. You might say, el abrigo que se utiliza para la lluvia. There you go. Describe what it is you're trying to say if you've forgotten the word. Define it. Okay? Right. Find a practice pal. Find someone that you can go through dialogues with, that you can go through role plays and photocards with, and practice with that classmate, perhaps an older sister, brother, friend, neighbor who's done this before. There you go. Go topic by topic when you're doing this with that practice pal. Okay? Right. What else are they looking for at GCSE speaking? Well, explica. You have to explain your answers. No vale just to say yes or no. ¿Tienes hermanos? No. No, you can't just say no. So, ¿tienes hermanos? No. Soy hija única. No, I'm an only child. Aunque, although, me hubiese gustado tener hermanos. I would have liked to have brothers and sisters. Okay? Porque yo creo que sería divertido. I think it would be fun. Okay, so explain. Always explain and expand on that initial yes or no. Okay, that will get you points. That's what they're looking for. Okay, next, tricky words to pronounce. We all have these words that we just can't pronounce for the life of us. Just So hard. Now, these are 5 words that I've noticed that we struggle with, and by we, I did as well when I was doing a GCSE in Spanish, and perhaps afterwards as well, I'm not going to lie to you. So the first word is this word, which is very popular, it's very common, and it's on your word list. Desafortunadamente, which means unfortunately. We're always using this word, but we get tongue twisted and we can never say it right. What do? You break this word down. Desafortunadamente. So let's break it down a little bit. Des. We can say des. Of course we can. Des. Ooh. Or even desa. Desa. Desa is easy to say. I have a friend called Desa actually. Desa. Then we have for. We know for. We have that in English. For. Tuna. The next one is tuna, but instead of saying yuna, we say tuna. Tuna. Instead of tuna, tuna. So and then we have mente. Break it down. Desa, for, tuna, mente. Practice this and then stick it together. Desafortunadamente. Desafortunadamente. Desafortuna. Now I can't say it. Desafortunadamente. Damente. Desafortunadamente. Break it down, practice it until you get it. Right, next one. Desarrollar. We find this so difficult because it has double R and double L, and we cannot with that. We just cannot. It's unlocked for our tongues. Okay? So again, break it down. Desa. They're changing class, and so it's very noisy outside. Montón de ruido. Okay? Desa. Ro. Practice the ro. Ro. Think of your cat purring. Practice. It will come. It will come. It will come. Desa. Desarrollar. I always tend to say je instead of ya because I find it easier. Desarrollar. They're not looking for perfection. Okay, but practice these words we find difficult. Idea. We find it hard to say idea. I don't know why. Well, I can guess. It's because the word is exactly the same in English. So we have to train our tongues to pronounce it differently. So instead of I, E. We say idea, they say E. Idea. Idea. It's almost as though you're saying that, it's not almost, you are saying the alphabet. Idea. E-A. Idea. Practice, guys. This one, I struggled with for years. American in Spanish. Estadounidense. Estadounidense. We're going to break it down because we know how to say estado from the verb to be, been, estado. Then we know how to say uni, and then dense. You're so dense. Estadounidense. Break it down in 3, it's a piece of cake. Estadounidense. Estadounidense. Practice. And the last one is this. We practice, again, it's because it's similar to our word, but our tongues are stubborn. So, eu, pronunciation, ro, europeo, europeo. Practice the ones you struggle with, you will get it, I promise. Okay, figure out which words you struggle with and practice saying them, and they won't seem so hard after a while. Right, moving on to point 10. The last one. Respira hondo, okay? Breathe. Deep breathing. Deep in, breathe in, and breathe out, okay? This is what you need to practice. You've got this, okay? Todo está bajo control. You've got it all under control. You're going to be able to do this. Pan comido. Pan comido. It's a piece of cake. Right, now that I've done this, let's go over to see the structure. So, you know the speaking is divided into 3 small sections. It will be between 10 to 12 minutes, and you will start with the role play, which is 2 minutes long, followed by a photo card which will be 3 minutes long. You will be given 12 minutes, extra minutes to prepare the role play and the photo card. You can make notes, but not on the card. And then just before you start the general conversation, you will have to hand the notes back to the examiner, as you're not really allowed them in the general conversation. Now, the general conversation is a topic that you've chosen that did not come up in the photo card. Okay? And so that, as I said, is 5 to 7 minutes long. And in the general conversation, you have to ask the examiner a question. You must. Okay? So, we're going to go over an example of a role play with you. And it says, estás hablando con tu amigo o amiga chileno o chilena sobre el matrimonio. So you're talking to your Chilean friend about marriage. Now, in the example, when you see a question mark, it means that you have to ask a question. You must ask the examiner a question. When you see an exclamation mark, it means that you have to respond to something that you did not prepare. But lo tienes todo bajo control. Okay, you'll be able to do this. No worries, just relax. Okay, it's pretty simple to follow. Okay, so what you need to make sure you're doing here is looking for how many details they're asking for, and they will specify. Okay, so in the first line it says tu pareja ideal en el futuro. So your ideal partner in the future. 2 details. Now you might say mi pareja ideal sería, you employ the conditional here, would be, o tiene que ser, must be, una persona paciente, porque para mí la paciencia es importante. Okay? Or, you might want to add, y también, and also, tiene que ser honesto, porque para mí la honestidad es lo más importante. Okay? So for me, honesty is the most important thing. 2 details. Okay? Right, then it goes on. Tu opinión sobre el matrimonio. So we've seen different ways of giving your opinion. Yo creo, yo pienso, so on. Go and check that because there's a video on giving opinion. Okay? 1 detail. You might say, para mí, hoy en día, el matrimonio no es tan importante como antes. So for me, marriage is not as important as it was in the past. Something like that. It's 1 detail. Then go on. Hijos, a question mark. So I might say to the examiner, ¿tienes hijos? ¿O te gustaría tener hijos? Would you like to have children in the future? ¿Te gustaría tener hijos en el futuro? She might say something that wasn't prepared. I'll have to answer that. Okay? That's what the question mark is. Familia grande, 2 ventajas. Desventajas, disadvantages. Okay? Remember, ventajas, advantages, desventajas, disadvantages. You could say something, una familia grande significa que hay mucho ruido siempre y a mí no me gusta el ruido. So big family means lots of noise and I don't really like the noise. Para mí, la familia grande es muy costoso tener una familia grande. Okay? So it's very expensive to have a big family. Something like that. It tells you how many details you have to give. Okay? Right. When it comes to the photo card, things that you need to be aware of. Okay? What can you see in the whole picture? So up there, down there, in the middle, wherever. So learn the positions. So you might need to learn a la izquierda, to the left, a la derecha, to the right, al fondo, in the background, en la parte de arriba, at the top, la parte de abajo, down the bottom, okay? All of these things you need to remember, okay? You might want to start with, en la foto veo, in the photo I see, or en la imagen, in the photo is the same, in the image, en la imagen veo, I see, and go on to describe what you see. What's the weather like? Is it evident? ¿Está lloviendo? ¿Hace sol? ¿Es verano? ¿Es invierno? How do you know? What are the people wearing? These are all indication of what you can say. Lots of things you can say, okay? Notice all the details. What's going on at the back? What can you see? What might it be? Perhaps you're not sure exactly what's going on. You can say that. No estoy segura, pero yo creo que, okay? I'm not sure, but I do think that, okay? And finally, for the general conversation, take your time, don't rush, listen to the examiner and respond. And again, it goes back to just believing in yourself and knowing that you've prepared. It's all up here. You've stored so much more than you can imagine. It will come out. Just try to keep those nerves under control and you will be able to do it. Good luck and let me know how you get on. I am sure you'll do marvelously well. Okay? And with that, os voy a dejar y hasta la próxima vez. Y a practicar. Those really difficult words, go practice. Okay? So that is it, guys. Hasta pronto.